أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
الحمد لله خالق الوجود من العدم وجاعل النور من الظلم ومن الصبر على الألم فنشكره على المصائب كما نشكره على النعم ونصلي على رسوله الأكرم بالشرف الأتم والنور الأتم والكتاب المحكم وكمال النبيين والخاتم سيد ولد آدم الذي بشر به عيسى بن مريم ودعا لبعثته إبراهيم عليه السلام حين كان يرفع قواعد بيت الله المحرم. فصلى الله عليه وسلم وعلى أتباعه خير الأمم الذين بارك الله بهم كافة الناس العرب منهم والعجم. فالحمد لله الذي لم يتخذ ولدا ولم يكن له شريك في الملك ولم يكن له ولي من الذل وكبره تكبيرا. والحمد لله الذي أنزل على عبده الكتاب ولم يجعل له عوجا. والحمد لله الذي نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ به من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له. ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له. ونشهد أن محمدا عبد الله ورسوله أرسله الله تعالى بالهدى ودين الحق ليظهره على الدين كله وكفى بالله شهيدا. وصلى الله عليه وسلم تسليما كثيرا ثم أما بعد فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وإن شر الأمور محدثاتها وإن كل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. يقول سبحانه وتعالى في كتابه الكريم بعد أن أقول أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم واسألهم عن القرية التي كانت حاضرة البحر إذ يعدون في السبت إذ تأتيهم حيتانهم يوم سبتهم شرعا ويوم لا يسبتون لا تأتيهم كذلك نبلوهم بما كانوا يفسقون. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. First of all, I'd like to express my personal joy at having the opportunity to visit this place, to visit your community, alhamdulillah. It's a great addition to the already growing DFW community, and I pray that Allah puts a lot of blessings, barakah, in all of the activities that happen in this community, and that Allah makes this masjid and all of the surrounding activities and means by which the families of this area are strengthened in their faith, in their relationship with Allah Azza wa Jal, in their closeness and their love to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and their understanding and tolerance and love and care for each other, and then by extension even the non-Muslim community at large. The topic that I chose for khutbah today is a very difficult one, but I think an important one for Muslims all over the world. And I'm going to start with something that's personal, and then I'll share with you something about ayat that belong to Surah Al-A'raf, about a very particular story. I don't think, given the limited time in a khutbah, I'll be able to do justice to the topic, but inshallah I'll do my best. I want to start with impressions that a person develops about Islam, and I'll talk about myself. Growing hearing the message of Islam. You know, when you live in a Muslim country, and you hear the message of Islam through khutbah, through talks, you know, you hear it maybe somewhat casually in conversations. But for the vast majority of us, and I like to think of myself as a pretty average person, you're not necessarily going to be sitting in, you know, long hours of durus behind, like with a sheikh or something. You're not going to read exhaustive books of tafsir. You're not going to read fiqh. You're not going to read these advanced Islamic studies books and things like that. That's just not going to be the case. If you just had an average education in Islam, like even from a Muslim country, the public schooling system in Muslim countries teaches a very minimal amount of Islam. Right? There's a little bit about the life of the Prophet, maybe a couple of, where I come from in Pakistan, for the Pakistani school system, you memorize a couple of surahs, you are made to memorize the translation of those surahs. You actually never technically think about those surahs, you just memorize them. And then if you're really super religious, then maybe you get some qadi sahib to come to your house and you recite the Quran once over, without any understanding, of course, and you're done, your religious obligations are pretty much finished. Okay, and then maybe you'll pick up the book, you know, during Ramadan or something. But you know, other than that, the only thing you might hear is these long, elaborate khutbahs when you go to the masjid. If you go early enough, you might hear a long, drawn-out speech, right? So we have a very minimal engagement with actually what the book has to say. That's just not a core part of our education. What kind of education is emphasized is the kind of education that will get you a good career. Right, so you want to end up in the technology industry, you're being groomed for the medical industry, you're being groomed for the financial industry. That's where people that are concerned themselves with education, they push their children in this direction, including ourselves. Growing up, you know, there was an emphasis on education, and you push yourself in these things. And the Islam that you have should be enough. You should be able to get by. The problem with that, though, is that the world does not exist in a vacuum. We live in a globalized world. And ideas that are very opposed to Islam are not limited to places that are not Muslim. They are spread all over the world, right? And so young people coming up in a new age, you know, in this day and age, in 2015, the post 9/11 world, they're actually going to be, chances are, doesn't matter where they live in the world, chances are they have heard a lot of criticism about Islam. That's a good high likelihood that they've heard things about Islam that are very critical. They've heard a lot of criticism about the Quran, about the Prophet himself, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you know, whether online or even at their own university sometimes. And this is not something that only happens in the non-Muslim world. You would think that criticism of Islam can only happen maybe in Europe or in America or in Australia or something. That's not the case. There's enough criticism of Islam or people who represent Islam in the Muslim world. That's just a fact. If you travel the Muslim world, you'll see it, you know. So now young people are coming up in this age. Now I specifically want to talk about young people for many reasons, and here's one of them. According to some recent statistics, 65% of the Muslim population is under the age of 35. That's 2/3 of the Ummah is young people. They're just young people, you know. And these people are coming up and they're going to define basically what Islam looks like for the next century. That's what's going to be the case. So we have to concern ourselves with what's going on in the mind of the young person. What I want to start this khutbah with, inshallah ta'ala, are 4 impressions. And I hope that you can try to remember them. The average Muslim, in my opinion, you could disagree, but this is actually based on my own personal experience and friends and other people I've met around the world, and even here in the US. 4 impressions a young Muslim has about Islam. The first of them is every time I hear about Islam, it's usually talking about some really long time ago thing. It has to do not with right now, with 2015. It has to do with the golden age of Islam. I hear stories about Umar radiallahu anhu or the Prophet or Nouman or something else. In other words, the good times are long gone. We are living in evil times. You know, all the good things are already over. All the great people that ever lived are already dead. All we have are their stories. Okay, so, and you hear this so many times over and over again that you start believing that actually real Islam doesn't really exist. That was an old thing. And even subconsciously you start accepting that it is not something that deals with the reality of our time. It's a backwards thing. It's an ancient thing. That's the first impression. The second impression that is very common, based on what you hear about Islam, is that the religion is extremely harsh. That it's very, like chances are, no matter how much good you do, you're probably still not a good person. And you're probably going to end up in Jahannam anyway. Chances are. I mean, seriously, you're going to make it to Jannah? That's the kind of message you hear over and over again. And so you start accepting that, the people before us, you hear like really extreme stories, like a scholar who prayed tahajjud, the night prayer, every single night for 40 years in a row without missing a single one, and he was still afraid of Jahannam, and, et cetera, et cetera. And you're like, well, I haven't even done that once, so I don't know what the score comparison is. I don't think I'm doing too well, So it's, on the one hand, it seems like it's really tough to make Allah happy. Like, some of you guys are from the tech industry. You guys understand the default position. So, for a lot of people, the default position that when they think about Allah is unhappy. Allah is angry. Right? And it's really hard to make him happy. And part of that is not only what we've heard from the religion, but also part of that is the way we've been raised. Every time a mother gets a chance, a father gets a chance, Allah's going to get angry. As long as you don't hear Allah's going to be happy, but you really hear a lot, Allah's going to get angry. So it gets embedded. These are psychological impacts of messages you hear in childhood. They can become part of your subconscious. And you start thinking like that. You start thinking about Allah, that He is an angry God. And it doesn't help that you tune in, like 9 out of 10 radio stations in Dallas, Fort Worth are Christian talk radios. The God of Islam is an angry God. He wants people to burn in hell. Et cetera, et cetera. I listen to this stuff for fun. So I know. So it doesn't help, right? And even in our own discourse, it's actually mostly the terms that kids even know even now. If they know something about Islam, this is haram, that's haram, Allah's going to punish you, etc. That's all they know. Right? Before they know halal, they know haram. Right? And this is a problem, because we start the conversation about Islam from the negative. And we embed that in the mind. And then the other thing, it's harsh, and along with that, this is the second point still. The first was it has to do with a long time ago. The second is that it's harsh and it's also unfair. How come women don't get the same share in inheritance? What is this, men can marry like up to 4 wives? What's that? That's crazy. Now how come you guys really cut the hands of someone who steals? Like if you're saying if I go steal like an extra French fry from McDonald's, you guys are gonna go chop on my hand? Like is that really Islam? Like this is you guys are barbaric, man. This is insane. And when people say that to you and you don't know how to respond, you start thinking to yourself, yes, Islam does sound pretty harsh, man. It's pretty wild. This is it's in the book. It says some of this stuff. Now this is not a non-Muslim's impression of Islam. This is a Muslim young person thinking about Islam. Before we talk about what Muslims do, what Muslims say, we have to take into account what Muslims think. What Muslims think. When a person's thinking changes, everything about their life changes. If your thinking doesn't change and only your behavior changes, then actually it's artificial. I'll give you an easy example of that before I share my next 2 impressions. If you tell your child to pray, and you're like, Juma, come with me. I don't want to go, I was in the middle of the game. I just got Assassin's Creed on PS4. It looks so awesome. I'm getting so far. I'm almost at 100% synchronization. You're going to make me pause the game and go to Juma? It's a snow day. Don't you get like snow days for Juma or something? And your mom drags you out anyway. And you're sitting here in Juma, and actually, the behavior is that you're praying, but in your mind, this is less valuable than the game. Right? That pause button that you hit on the game, it's paused on the screen, but not paused in your mind. So that's actually that prayer is less valuable than a prayer that somebody comes and says, I'm going to come for the sake of Allah. I'm going to do this because I know this is more important than anything else. Now that's about the mindset, but now let me share a couple more impressions with you. So the first one is it's outdated, and the second is that it's harsh and unfair, right? The third impression that's very common among Muslims is that the religion is actually asking too much. In order for me to be a good person, I just have to do way too much. It's just not possible for me, man. That's good for you. I'm really happy that you're doing this stuff, man. I'm really happy for you, but I don't think I can do that stuff. Like it just makes it seem like the expectations from Allah are so daunting and so huge that no normal person. Those were prophets, man. Those were like companions of the Prophet. Those people were awesome. Yeah, I'm not that awesome. I'm just a regular dude, so I can't do stuff. Sorry. There's this impression that Islam just expects way too much. And if I can't do all of it, just a terrible person. So you know what? I'm not even going to bother. It's kind of like, college students when they take a class, and on the first day the professor says, you have 200 prerequisites before the first exam. Before I even consider giving you anything other than an F. You're like, I'm dropping this class right now. This is not gonna work out. So it's overwhelming amount of expectation is the next big problem. Okay? And then finally, and this is a really scary one, what's the point? Why should I pray? 14-year-old, 16-year-old asks his mom, why do you want me to pray? For what? Why do we do this? Why are we washing our hands? What does that have to do with praying? Well, what am I supposed to read? I didn't even understand the book. Okay, well, we don't understand it. Okay, I'll read the translation, Mom. I'll read it for you. And you read the translation, it says, Alif, Lam, Mim. What does that mean, Mom? What's that? What's God telling us? Mom's like, astaghfirullah, every day, don't ask that question. Every day, I have to find a mom to answer that question for you. Mom's freaking out because you're asking questions about Islam. She's like, she's got the kameez down on your bed, and she's not deal with it. A lot of young people just don't see the point. I'm going to school. For a young person, I'm looking to get a job. I have a good life. I don't see how this adds anything to my life. I don't see how Islam adds anything to my life. For a professional, I've got a job, I've got a family, I've got a car, I've got things I want, I'm living my life. I don't see how this adds any value to my life. The only real reason I feel like I'm doing this is because my parents made me do it. That's it. It's the only real, I can't really find an honest reason to do anything in Islam other than my parents are really interested in getting me to do this. I've met plenty of Muslims as I travel who are, very successful professionals, who were raised in, relatively conservative Muslim families, who comfortably come and tell me, man, I used to pray and everything too, but, ever since I went to college, I was like, I don't have to anymore, because, but when I go back home for Eid and stuff, I do pray, because my mom would freak out. Actually, technically, I don't even consider myself a Muslim. They tell me. I don't even consider myself a Muslim, but, I wouldn't tell my parents that because they might have a heart attack. Right? This is the reality of not one or two young people. This is the reality of millions upon millions of young people. And I'm not making this up because I get thousands of emails a month of people exactly in this circumstance. This is real. And I know how real it is because I've gone through it myself. If you have these impressions of Islam, it's enough for you to not want to have anything to do with the religion. Man, it's talking about a long time ago, it's so super harsh. On top of that, unfair, it's asking way too much for it from me, and what's the point of it all anyway? That's enough. Well, no wonder you have people that are having, young people that don't want to pray, don't want to learn Quran, don't want to do anything, and, parents are struggling to get them to listen. Why is that? You know why that is? We like to blame the youth, or we like to blame their disobedience to Allah, etc. But where did these impressions come from? Today's khutbah is uncomfortable a little bit, because I want to tell you in my own observation, Allah knows best, it is my personal opinion that there are people who talk about Islam, who apparently represent Islam, who talk about it in a way that sends this message. They speak about Islam unintelligently, and I would even argue inaccurately. I don't know if they do that on purpose or not on purpose. Intentions are not for me to judge. All I can tell you is that Islam is talked about in such an unintelligent way. This incredible book, it's this remarkably wise book, is talked about in such unwise ways. This amazing tradition of the Prophet ﷺ, this beautiful sunnah, is talked about in such an ugly way that people walk away with the impression that this book itself is harsh. This book itself is irrelevant. The sunnah itself is ugly, ma'allah. It's not the book itself or the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. It's, I want to give you an analogy. If you're wearing glasses that are dirty, and you see, tainted, there's just tints everywhere, it's not the environment that's bad, it's the way you're looking at it. We've been presented a picture of Islam. I personally, for a long time, was presented a picture of Islam that was tainted. It was just tainted. And this is a serious, serious problem on the one side. That's one problem. So many that are representing Islam talk about it in highly unintelligent ways. Then on the other side, let me give you one example of that before I go on. Recently there was a video I saw of, certain people who think they're working for Islam, or at least pretend they are, that are breaking idols. They're busting into a museum and breaking idols. And the ayah recited in the background is the ayah about Ibrahim alayhi salam breaking the idols. That's the qari in the background. Now people who don't know Arabic don't catch it, but it's, Ja'far do that he broke them he tore them into pieces. Ibrahim alayhi salam broke the idols into pieces. I was talking to a friend of mine from a Muslim country. I don't want to embarrass the country, so I won't name the country. A while ago, they had a youth movement inspired by some guy, some religious dude, who basically told them, we have to revive the legacy of Ibrahim alayhi salam. Ibrahim alayhi salam destroyed the idols, and they happened to be in a country where there were Buddhists and Hindus and, different faith traditions. So these Muslim youth would go in the middle of the night into the mandir and into the temple, and they would destroy the idols, and these were the people of Ibrahim, Millat Abina Ibrahim, because of the ayah. And you know what? This happened in the 70s. This happened a few decades ago. You know what happened to those youth? The Hindus caught on. And the Buddhists caught on. And they knew which a temple they were going to attack next, these 20, 30 youth. And they waited there with machetes and swords, and there was a massacre of youth. And the riots were about to break out in the entire country. All because some people thought they were doing what Ibrahim alayhi salam was. Let me tell you something about what Ibrahim alayhi salam did. What Ibrahim alayhi salam specifically did, Ibrahim Quran says. Those were the ways of making a point that we specifically only gave to Ibrahim. That's what Quran says. Quran says that the way Ibrahim alayhi salam was making a point was specific exclusively to who? Ibrahim alayhi salam. Allah asked him to do things he never asked anybody else to do. He asked him to leave his family in the middle of a desert, to die of dehydration and trust Allah. You asked to do that? He was asked to put a knife to his child's neck. Are you asked to do that? He was asked these things. And which prophet, in the entire history of prophethood, there is not a single prophet, in order to invite his people to Islam, would break the idols. Not a single one. It was specific and exclusive to who? Ibrahim alayhi salam. But if you don't study the Quran even a little bit carefully, what do you walk away with? We should be just like Ibrahim alayhi salam. We should go bust some idols. What is wrong with you? What is wrong with this? Is an unintelligent reading of the Quran. Unintelligent representation of the deen. Now, let's come back to ourselves. I'm almost done. What I want to say about ourselves is that on the one hand, you can blame people who misrepresent the teachings of the book. That's fine. But one of the things our religion teaches us is never to exclude yourself from responsibility. You cannot identify a problem and then say it is their fault. You have to ask yourself, part of it is their fault, but what part of it is my fault? Where am I wrong in all of this? What's my fault in all of this? Am I to blame also too? Because most people, when they find a problem, they find somebody to blame, that's the easy way to remove themselves from the picture, and I'm not the one to be held responsible. I have no crime in any of this. Again, to make the point easy to understand, I'm going to give you an example. A student fails, I teach Arabic. A student fails the test, gets a 40 on the test. He shows up late to class every day, he doesn't do any of his homework, and he takes the test, even though the fact that he got a 40 is a miracle from God. Now I call him into my office. Why'd you get a 40? Actually, my friends, they wake up late, that's why I come late to class, and I feel lost in the lecture, and I don't, I have trouble, taking notes. It takes me a long time to process things. I'm really shy in asking questions. These are all legitimate excuses. I just thought sometimes, you're a really scary person, so I feel scared to ask you questions. That's why. So you're blaming your friends, you're blaming the weather, you're blaming earthquakes in Indonesia, you can blame everything else. The only thing you didn't blame is who? Yourself. You can't just say, yes, those are all reasons, but a big part of that is I just don't make the effort. I don't make the effort. You could say, I don't pray because the things I've heard about Islam are so messed up. Because look at these crazy things that people do. How do you blame me for not knowing? You know what? Allah created a human being with an incredible amount of intelligence. You're not dumb. You're really smart. Human beings are really smart. They're not like sheep. So when you are given the gift of Islam, and you, as a person, have never made the effort to try to understand it on your own, never asked intelligent questions, and if you didn't find an intelligent answer, there's one thing you hear, an unsatisfactory answer, and you give up. But another person says, no, that can't be the answer. I have to keep exploring. I have to keep asking. I have to get to the bottom of this. I can't just dismiss this book just like that. I have to give it a fair chance. When I went to college, I wasn't religious at the time I went to college. When I went to college, I took a world literature class. And in the world literature class, they read a passage from the Quran. I didn't know any Arabic at the time. I wasn't even religious at the time. And when they read the passage of the Quran, I wrote an essay criticizing that passage. I handed it to my professor. This is why the Quran's passage on Joseph doesn't make any sense. So many details are missing. So many dates are missing. The Bible has so much more information. That's what I wrote. But at the end of it all, he said, you should explore why that is. My non-Muslim professor told me you should explore why that is. No Muslim ever told me to explore the Quran. A non-Muslim professor tells me you should explore why that is. I said, you know what? At least it deserves that much. At least I should try to explore this book. At least I should think about this book. And wallahi, that exploration has changed my life. It really, really has. All the criticisms I presented to you, all of them were crushed by the Book of Allah. All of them. Every last one of them. If you think you've met a skeptic before, you haven't. If you met me in college, you want to stay away. Keep your kids away from me. That was me. But it's the Book of Allah that answers. The Book of Allah transformed the society. You can't underestimate its power. It's we that have not done our job in representing this book. Now, I'm going to take 5 more minutes, I promise. I know I've been way over my time. The ayah I want to share with you belongs to Surah Al-A'raf. Allah talks about, it's a story from Jewish history, okay? And in this story, there are 3 groups. I'd like you to remember that. This story has 3 groups. The first group are people who don't care about the law of Islam. The law of Islam for us is to show up here on Friday. The law for them was to engage in worship of Allah all of Saturday, the Sabbath, to observe the entire Saturday. Allah says, ask the Jewish community about the town that used to be at the very edge of the water, meaning a marine town, an ocean town, a beach town. And when you have a beach town, what's your economy made up of? Fishing. Right? That's how you make your money. Those people who used to violate the Sabbath. The one time you're not supposed to be making money out there and doing business is what time? Jumu'ah time. This is the one time you're not supposed to be answering work emails and opening up your store and making sales. You're supposed to leave business. The Jews were told, leave business on what day? Saturday. Allah says they used to regularly violate the Sabbath. So these are Muslims, and I'll put it in your terms, in my terms, these were Muslims who were not religious. Muslims who were not religious. Sound familiar? Okay? They just didn't care. It wasn't a big deal to them. Now here's the other interesting thing. How did they violate the Sabbath? The law was you should not be fishing on Saturday. So they left the net on Friday night. And they pick it up on Sunday. And technically they could say, well, we actually didn't do any work on Saturday. I was sleeping the whole day. The net did all the work. And some mariners say they used to dig a hole because they would go fishing and no fish would come out. No fish would come out. But on Saturday, the fish would be jumping out the water doing flips. When the fish would come and they would just be jumping out of the water, right at the edge of the water. Usually to fish, you have to go out in the deep. These fish would come right at the beach, wink at them, and go back. Just on Saturday, though. They're like, we gotta get these things. It's haram to get them, though. So they just dug a hole on the shore. The fish would come, get caught in the hole. The water recedes. The fish are stuck. They come pick it up on Sunday. Hey, we didn't break any rules. But according to Allah, that was a violation of the rules. You think you're outsmarting Allah? There's the letter of the law, and there's the spirit of the law. Technically, you didn't break the rule, but you did mess around a little bit. You didn't try to take advantage of the rule. When you try to take advantage of Allah's rules, even if you technically didn't break them, Allah's going to get you to that too. Allah's going to get you to that too. You're not smarter than Allah. Now, these people would be violating the rules of Allah. This is the first group. The second group would try to give them advice. Guys, you should pray. You shouldn't do that. They'd be very soft in their advice. لِمَ تَعِبُونَ قَوْمًا. Why do they used to give counsel to them. And there's a third group, and what was that third group used to do? That third group said, إِذْ قَالَتْ أُمَّةٌ مِّنْهُمْ لِمَ تَعِبُونَ قَوْمًا اللَّهُ مُهْلِكُهُمْ أَوْ مُعَذِّبُهُمْ عَذَابًا شَدِيدًا. Why do you even bother? The third group was super religious. They looked at the Muslims who disobey and said, these people are so going to burn in hell. These munafiqun, these liberals, these people that have no respect for Islam. Forget it, they're going to burn in hell. Their lives will be kuffar. And the people who were trying to give them advice, they would come to them and say, why do you even bother talking to them nicely? Allah is going to kill them. Allah is going to punish them. Or at the very least, He's going to annihilate them. أَوْ مُعَذِّبُهُمْ عَذَابًا شَدِيدًا. So there's three groups. A group that breaks Allah's law, who's not that religious. A group that cares and says, hey, let me just try to give you some advice. Let me just give me a chance to talk to you. Let me not give up on you. And the third group who's so angry that says, they're not even worth talking to. Three groups. I'm going to fast forward now because I have 1 minute left. Of these three groups, Allah destroyed two of them. Allah destroyed two of them in this passage. The groups that He destroyed, the first of them is the one that used to violate the Sabbath. The second of them is the one that said, these people are condemned, they're burning in hell, there's no point caring about them. Just because the youth of Islam are disobeying Allah, just because young people are dating, doing drugs, watching pornography, drinking alcohol, clubbing, when they're doing all these horrible, horrible things, it still doesn't take away from the fact that there are people in La ilaha illallah somewhere in there. There's this tiny little La ilaha illallah, and you can't give up on it. You can't. Those are still our people. That's still our family. That La ilaha illallah ties me to them with a bond that's thicker than any blood. I can't give up on them. And when you give up on them, it is not you who is better than them, you are actually the same as them. They have given up on Allah. They have given up on Allah because they didn't take personal responsibility, maybe a little bit of advice that they would. And you have given up on them, and you're not taking responsibility because your job is to take care of your people. They're both destroyed. That's why the response was مَعْذِرَةً إِلَىٰ رَبِّكُمْ لَمْ يَقُلْ رَبِّهِمْ قَالْ رَبِّكُمْ وَلَعَلَّهُمْ يَتَّقُونَ. Look at the incredible transition. When they said, why do you bother giving these people advice? You know what the response was? We give them advice as an excuse for your Rabb, your master. And so they might become good people. What does an excuse for your master mean? When nobody in the community cares about the sinful, then everybody's going to be answerable before Allah. I'm not just here to highlight a problem. There are some of you that go to school, high school, and you guys pray. And you're the only one among your Muslim friends who pray. The only connection to Islam your friends have is you. It's the only connection they have. If you give up on them, there's no connection to Islam left. You cannot give up on them. If you can't get them to pray, at least get them to come with you to a restaurant or something. At least get them to hang out with you at your place and then maybe pray in front of them when the time comes. Maybe that. Maybe go easy on them. But you can't give up on your friends. You can't do it. This is the message of the deen. We cannot give up on this ummah. There are people who didn't give up on me. If you met me, you wouldn't want to. If you were religious, you'd get an allergic reaction if you met me. But the friend that I found used to give me a ride home. He used to even say once in a while, hey man, you mind? I gotta pray. I was like, no, knock yourself out, bro. And he used to pray. He used to say, sitting in the car, watching him pray. And he didn't mind. And only years later, I found out he was a hafiz of Quran. And he was just be patient. We have to learn to be patient. I pray that Allah Azza wa Jalla gives us genuine concern for the youth of this ummah. I pray that Allah, sparks in the young people of this ummah their conscience once again, that they want to re-explore the book of Allah, rekindle their relationship with this great, great message of deen that is going to empower them like nothing they've ever experienced before. I pray that Allah Azza wa Jalla helps them taste the sweetness of Iman, makes every young man and woman taste the sweetness of Iman, so they forget the sweetness of movies, and they forget the temporary sweetness of video games, or addiction to music, or whatever else. All of that becomes trivial to them because they realize Allah made them for something way better, way higher. They realize their purpose. This ummah was sent on this earth so that humanity could see the light, So humanity, you can see the light. And it was carried by young people throughout the history of Islam. These young people that we're calling the problem, they are the solution, actually. They're the solution. May Allah Azza wa Jalla help our youth rise to that occasion. Barakallahu wa lakum fil Qur'an wa nafa'ani wa iyyakum bil ayati wal hikmah. Alhamdulillah wa kafa wa salatu wa salamu ala ibadihi alladhina istafa khususan ala afdalihim wa khatamil nabiyyin محمد الأمين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. يقول الله عز وجل في كتابه الكريم بعد أن قل أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد. عباد الله رحمكم الله اتقوا الله إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر ولذكر الله أكبر والله يعلم ما تصنعون في الصلاة إن الصلاة كانت على المؤمنين كتابا موقوتا. After the salah, I have just 1 minute announcement for you, and it is not fundraising. Okay.